Tour Junkies.
All right, everybody. David Barnett here of the Tour Junkies. Low-key intro tonight. Low-key. Pat's here. I'm here. It's the Genesis 2020 Invitational. We are live on YouTube. I have just literally stepped off the plane from Las Vegas. I have been. I have not had a lot of sleep. But Pat, I do have. My skin should look really good, and I'm all the toxins. You should not be able to see any toxins on me because this morning before I left, I went to the sauna, and it was a redwood sauna, and I sat there and just let all the toxins exit my body from Vegas, just cleansing myself of Vegas, and then I literally went straight from there to the shower and then to the Uber and left. So it was a good cleansing ritual to do. So I feel good, man.
Redwood sauna, like, is there a sauna that's not redwood?
I don't know. They just told me it was redwood. Maybe. I don't know. That being said, though, I do have to go ahead. Let's get into this podcast shoe situation because I'm pulling a U tonight. I am bringing the bar to the podcast tonight. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, so I'm going straight for the Casamigos. Now, I do have to also point out this amazing glass. You probably aren't going to be able to see it really well right now. Ooh, that's a lot. But if you're watching on YouTube, this amazing glass, laser-etched Golby glass. Oh, you can't. Yeah, you can't see it.
You can't really see it. But
yeah,
aren't you supposed to send one of those to me?
Yeah, I'll bring it to you next week. It's got DB right here. It's got DB, and then it's got our logo on this side. Our buddy Bill Brower, longtime listener, great dude. Major props to Bill. Also a Nut Hut member. Thank you, Bill. Lovely glass. I guess it would show up better if I had whiskey in it. Maybe that's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and put some lime in. I'm out of oranges tonight, so I don't have. Fuck me running. God.
Did you squeeze the orange in your eye?
A little lime juice in the eyeball, just a little podcast injury, no big deal. Yeah. So, how you been, bud? What are you drinking right now? You good? Now we're starting late tonight, so are you already a couple deep, or what are we getting into right now?
Well, I try to pace myself, so really I'm not. I did have one kind of like really small pour, like tiny. Like that much vodka before, and this one's got a little more than that. But yeah, just little Tito's with club and lime, and then I'm gonna switch it up later.
I mean, I'm thinking after your TJ After Dark last week when you were sipping rosé and you were hammered, but you gave the viewers Nick Taylor at 80-1, and he goes off and wins the Pebble Beach Pro. I'm thinking you should go back to rosé for a little bit here. Maybe that's the.
We'll see.
You know what I mean?
Maybe I'll probably for the DK show later on. I'll be on that, but I don't think anybody followed me on that.
I don't think anybody did either. No.
Yeah.
Although I will say, major props because after like 2 or 3 weeks of me pissing and moaning on the podcast about how nobody ever tells us thank you when we make good picks and everybody else gets thank yous and we don't. It finally paid off. Like whoever says that like whining doesn't get you anywhere, it's not true. And you listeners, you answered the call, and
definitely get you somewhere.
We appreciate it. We got a lot of chatter last week from some picks that were good, and we did have some that weren't so great, but we had some bold calls. The Jordan Spieth call, you good? What is that?
Just keep going. I'm trying to figure out why there's no lines on my recording here.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Yeah, we had the Jordan Spieth call, so that's good. The Chalk Bomb is on fire right now, so if you're not subscribing to the Chalk Bomb email, not sure what you're doing there. And the Nut Hut has been...
Hey, let's stop. We're going to have to start over. It's not picking up.
Okay, you know what, listeners, YouTube viewers, watch this. We're going to let the YouTube viewers just see how this shit show happens. All right, we're going to stop recording on GarageBand, but we're going to leave YouTube going live. You ready, Pat? I just stopped. So you're saying that the whole 5 minutes and 46 seconds that we've been talking, you have not noticed that your lines were not bouncing up and down. Is that what you're saying?
Well, because I was watching the YouTube video, which you created, I don't know, 6 months ago,
Now,
whatever. So.
now what's interesting is the little YouTube thing is a very small little box, so you can make the GarageBand a big window, and you can see that,
No,
and
but
then put the.
I like to make
So it's
it
because you want to see
back.
your big ass head on the screen and not being able to see.
No, I'm wanting to look at you because I can see you.
I mean, I got lime juice in my eye for that.
Check. Well, see, it was working before. All right, I'm good now. I don't know what's. Wait.
Are we sure?
Hang on.
Are we sure?
Check 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4. Checking out the front door. Okay.
Y'all see what I have to deal with this shit?
All right, let's go. Tell me when you want to start again.
Kyle Sinehy said, I vote either DirecTV or Pat's dad takes Pat's place next week. You need a timeout, Pat. No, just kidding. He loves you. Kyle loves you. All right. Let's see. So I guess we won't redo the YouTube intro. We'll just kick right into it. Keep this train rolling.
Before you do that. I'm never letting kids up in this fucking room again. I can tell you that right now.
Bill says we've sounded fine. Bill, it's not. So what we do is there's a little behind the scenes. We actually record individual vocal tracks on GarageBand, completely nothing to do with the YouTube feed, simultaneously while we're broadcasting to the YouTube feed, and then those tracks are what goes into the audio version of the podcast. So Pat was not seeing any audio coming through on GarageBand. Therefore, the audio version would have probably just been me talking to myself. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Pat is
now we're a bit ready
very
to
cursed with technology. Very fucking cursed.
Look, I just want the listeners to know this right now because I'm not looking at you because I don't want to look at your face right now. But you have technological difficulties all the freaking time. But I don't say anything. I don't bitch about it.
Technologically difficult.
Whatever. You don't have. I don't bitch about it like you do.
Okay. All right. You ready?
How many times have the recording just shut down in the middle the last few months, and I just said no words whatsoever, and I just kept going.
Okay.
Anyway,
are you ready?
Sorry. Let's go.
All right. Let's show the listeners how technical we get when it comes to lining up our audio here. You ready? You got GarageBand queued up. All right.
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go. Uno, dos, tres, record. Mic check.
Check. All right, I got bars.
There's Pat's got bars. Here we go. Are you seeing waves, Pat? Are you seeing waves?
Seeing waves.
See, now this is going to be so contrived. This whole thing's going to be so contrived. All right, here we go. Watch this. I'm gonna. Hey, what's going on, golf addicts? Thanks for downloading the podcast here. We're excited. It's the Genesis Invitational 2020, and we're inviting you into our podcast to be a part as we preview the Genesis Invitational. Now, we've already had some troubles tonight. First of all, I am literally stepping off the plane from Las Vegas after 48 hours in Vegas and only about 8 hours of sleep. And then, of course, Pat here has to screw up all the, all the technologies. He's having technological difficulties, is what he said previously. So, we're running slow here. We started talking about the podcast juice, Pat. I do want to give a shout out formally, take two here because everything, to Bill Brower, our buddy Bill, who sent us these lovely Tour Junkies whiskey glasses. They have our logo, got a little Golby right there, and then mine has DB on it. You can't really see it because of the clear liquid that is Casamigos. I just went ahead and brought the bar upstairs tonight, which is normally your move, but since I was in such a rush,
that's a good move.
I did that, and I brought some chips, and I haven't had dinner. Actually, I didn't even have lunch, and some Publix Buffalo Chicken Dip, which is very, very good if you've not tried that. It's delicious.
What kind of chips did you bring?
So I may be snacking on that a little bit. Just some Tostitos, some scoops. I'm feeling good, though. If you can't tell, I look very refreshed for someone who's been to Vegas for 48 hours. It's because this morning, before I got in my Uber, I went straight to the sauna. And I laid in the sauna for 20 minutes and let all the toxins of Vegas just exit my body, which is a pro move. If you're going to Vegas, and you wake up with a hangover or you're tired or whatever, like before you leave Vegas, you have to go to the sauna, lay in there for 20 minutes, and exercise the demons. You know what I mean? Like all the toxins out. So I don't even look like I've been to Vegas. I'm like wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, no hangover. But cheers to the Casamigos. How's your pod juice tonight? You good?
Yeah, I got a little transfusion going now, which I didn't have earlier that we restarted this whole deal.
Oh, okay,
all
good.
of my
Transfusion.
technological difficulties, but
Your technological difficulties.
So it's good. I think the pro move for me on the way back from Vegas is just getting to the airport and going ahead and getting you a Bloody Mary and whatever, like rolling in. Like I would have rolled into this. Like if roles were reversed here, and I was the one that was coming in from Vegas, I would look like absolute hell. Like hair probably disheveled.
Yeah.
Already still. I mean, I'd be hammered. It'd just be a crap show. But so good for you. Way to go.
Had a great time in Vegas, by the way, and walked away with more money than I walked in there with. That's hard to say, but you got to play Vegas smart. I won money in the sports book thanks to a listener out there who gave me a 4-team NBA parlay that hit last night.
I followed on that. That was
a lot of people did. Mad props to him. That was a lot of fun to sweat. Then went and played poker for 7 hours until about 2 a.m. and walked away with money there too. So it was a very successful. Of course, I was eating vodkas the whole time I was betting, which you don't have to pay for those. So I mean, I took Vegas for all it had this past weekend, and I'm excited about it. Ready to get into the Genesis, man. This is a huge field. I mean, it looks like a major here. You got Tiger taking over this whole thing now. He gets to invite whoever Tiger wants to invite. And, so we got a short field. And I would love for you to tell us about, finally, our one golf course this week. We don't have to worry about 3. We don't have to worry about a funky format, 54-hole cut, none of that. Just tell us about one golf course and what you think about Riviera.
I am so excited. Just as everyone knows that listens to us, I can't stand all the courses when we have these pro-am events and whatever. So I'm pretty excited about Riviera Country Club this week. It is an old classic course. They played this tournament 90 years here. The LA Open, or as it's now called, the Genesis Invitational. Par 71, playing just over 7,300 yards. We got, as you mentioned, a shorter field this week because it is an invitational. You got 120 players in the field this week. Still top 65 in ties will make the cut. Here's a couple of interesting facts about an invitational. Actually, it means you get 3 years, by the way, on tour if you win this event. 3 years exemption. It's definitely a lot more money. I'm not sure if it's a few more FedEx Cup points, but I would think so. But I could be wrong on that. POA greens again, as we have seen. When you get on this California swing, we see a lot of POA greens. They're going to be running pretty quick at about 12 on the stimp meter this week. You got 3 par 5s on this par 71, playing 503, which is pretty easy for a par 5 for these guys. 583 and 590, so those are a little bit more difficult. You think with this like old classic design, sort of tree-lined fairways, tight, that the Bombers would have an issue here, but that is not the case at all. Bombers have just dominated this course. If you look at the history of the winners here over the last few years at least, just dominating this course. The rough is never all that thick. It's really all about, kind of like last week, but on a longer course, second shot into these greens. They're smaller greens, just like we had last week. Definitely got to be good on approach. Got to get yourself in the right spots off the tee, but I think you can still hit it in the rough. It's never really just been all that thick. The Bombers really have just gouged this course. A lot of dog legs left and right. Off the tee, you don't want to get yourself, sort of blindsided where you can't give yourself a good angle, to attack these pins. Looking at the par 4s here, that's really where these Bombers can just take advantage of this course because 7 of them are over 450 yards. So that's pretty long for these par 4s. So that's really where you're seeing the Bombers take advantage out here is not on these par 5s, but really the par 4s. You're going to be seeing more longer irons into these holes than you typically see on a tour event. So I think that's something to look out for. I like the experienced guys on this course. I think this is it just lends itself to the guys who have played out here more. These greens are quite undulating. They're, fast POA, as I've mentioned. So I think you've got to have a lot of experience on these greens and on this course itself. So there's a few young guys that I'll definitely look at, but I think experience does play a role in who does well here. Looking at it as far as difficulty, it played 10th most difficult last year. It was 9th in 2018, 23rd in 2017, and 21st in 2016. But so overall, though, pretty difficult course. The weather's going to be great this week. Wind, I don't think it's going to matter all that much so far from what I've seen. Looking at past chance, we had J.B. Holmes last year.
I think you kind of said that right.
Bubba, his third win here in 2018.
Very professional show that we have going on. Fucking disaster.
DJ in 2017, Bubba in 2016, and then James Hahn in 2015. Bubba, by the way, I think he wins like every even year, so this is the year he's going to win. He won in 2018, 16, 14, and now he's probably going to win in 2020. So there you go. As far as stats, I mentioned course history. I think it's huge this week. I do, obviously looking at recent form. I like scrambling on these small greens and strokes gained approach, and of course driving distance as well. Did I get everything in there? I think I did. God.
You all right?
I promise people this can be a better show. I'm having a lot of trouble tonight. And
like I said, remember last year when I had a sinus infection for like 8 weeks and the listeners had to listen to me freaking cough in the microphone every day?
Yeah, I mean, this is the best field we're going to see. Outside of this is literally the 6th best field we're going to see all year. You're going to see the majors. 5th is the Players' Championship. This is probably the 6th best field. It is incredible.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, even better than a lot of the WGCs because you got a lot of European Tour players that get in over there. Not that, but it's just different. This field is definitely stacked, and DraftKings has really upped the contest offerings, FanDuel as well.
They have.
So get in there, go ahead and reserve your spots. By the way, I think we should mention this real quick. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks a lot of people DMing us new to the game, right? Just getting into this DFS thing with golf, asking a lot of great questions. And we've got some content coming out on YouTube here pretty soon that you'll get some sneak peeks on. But it's really for that beginner and intermediate player. But if you're just dipping into this, like, let me say a couple things in terms of just contest selection. We've talked about it before, but again, we're adding new listeners all the time. I just want to make sure if you're just getting into this, start off in cash contests, so 50-50s, double ups. I would not recommend head-to-heads as you can get. I do think DraftKings has changed a little bit as terms of, you don't get all the head-to-heads swept up by some sharps out there, but just do 50-50s and double ups and do the big ones and just, don't worry about ownership at all. Don't worry about being too cute. Just try to pick the 6 best golfers you think are going to make the cut and learn the game and learn the ebbs and flows. That we had somebody DMing us last week about, it was like on Thursday, and they're talking about, oh my God, my DraftKings screen is changing every half second. Is this normal? And I'm like, yeah. So if you're just getting into it, like, start with those 50-50s and double ups and get used to how this thing flows with the PGA Tour, because it's very different than a Sunday NFL sweat or something like that. So 50-50s, double ups, only be concerned with, really ownership and getting the 6 guys in to make the cut. When you're listening to us and we talk about GPPs or tournament plays, that's not really what we're talking about when we say, we're talking cash games. We want you to play cash games. However, with that being said, take at least one of those lineups and put it in a big GPP, a low volume or a low cost, large GPP. So let's say you have a bankroll of $20 that you want to play with this week. Do a couple small double ups, $5, $10 double ups, and then throw one lineup in like the $3 or the $5. You're probably going to not win any money.
There's not really a huge $5 this week, but there's a $3 20 max, like $150K tournament. So if you're playing, if you're playing small amount of money and you're just trying to do double up, do that $3.20 max.
So
even if you're not going to max it out, just do the $3.
Yeah, and I'm really only saying that just to understand the differences in what that cash lineup is going to do in a GPP or a tournament. And when you see the differences in the pay structure, like you need to feel that a couple weeks before you really start investing more money into it, because it is a real thing in terms of, you can read the payout structure on the contest before you get in it, but it's another thing to experience it and watch it happen live in a tournament. So just a little bit of advice for some of you guys that are just getting into this. That's awesome. I just think that if you don't do it that way and you put all your money in tournaments or in GPPs, like even if you sit there and go, you know what, I don't care, I'm ready to lose it all, like it's just deflating because golf is so tough to pick. It's such a tough sport to handicap. I don't want you to lose interest. I want you to keep coming back. I want you to stay interested. I want these contests getting bigger. I want you having more fun. It's a year-round sweat, the PGA Tour is. So I would say like just start with those 50-50s, double-ups for a few weeks, put one line up in that little $3, $5, whatever, and go from there and start to kind of get a feel for how things are going. I know you're excited. It's a great tournament, great event, but just do that, and your bankroll and your engagement level in the next month will be better, because I don't want you to lose hope. It's freaking tough, okay? Last week, 5% of lineups got 6 of 6 through the cut last week. 20% got 5 of 6 through the cut. That's across the board, even with the sharp contest, the big money contest. So it's hard. It is a hard game. It's a hard thing to do. Just a little tip there for the new folks. In terms of, do you have anything else to add on that, Pat? I was going to talk real quick about the course. A couple things that came to mind.
No, you're good.
Other than everything you said, the Kikuyu fairways and rough are interesting.
By the way, can I just tell you that I did not mention those only because I just don't want to pronounce that word.
Good. So forget the fact that it's information for the listeners.
Yeah, sorry for all you folks that might want more information. If I can't pronounce it sometimes and I don't want to have to listen to DB, giving me crap about it, then I just let him, because I know he's probably going to mention it anyway. Like, we've done this long enough where I know that he's going to mention something that I didn't mention, and so I didn't want to talk about saying that word. So go ahead.
Okay, now I just said it wrong. Kikuyu fairways and rough, which is a pretty unique grass, and it does make a difference. If you're new to this and you're like, why the piss does the grass make a difference? It does, okay? And really, Torrey Pines is a good – I'm not a big fan of comp courses, but Torrey Pines is an interesting comp course to Riviera in terms of the Kikuyu fairways and rough, so as well as the POA surfaces there. But Kikuyu is pretty common, too, among Australia and South Africa. So you can have a slight edge there just in terms of comfort with Aussies and maybe South Africans here in the field. But, the Bombers are going to play well because the rough isn't penal whatsoever, right? But this year, with the weather looking as nice as it is, it looks like the weather is going to mimic 2018 and 2015, where it played a little firmer and faster. If you look back over the last 6 years, those are the two lowest scoring years in terms of the Bubba won at 12 under in 2018, James Hahn won at 6 under in 2015, and those 2 years both played firm and fast.
He won at 15 under.
Who?
James Hahn.
Did he win at 15? I wrote that down wrong. Okay. Well,
anyway.
it's gonna play a little tougher. Last year was really soft. The Bombers just had a huge edge. So I do think that, as opposed to last year, it'll open the door a little bit better for a shorter hitter that's going to get some run out in the fairways, but they're still going to have to hit long irons really well, as you mentioned, those long par fours. You got to take advantage of the gettable par fives here. You got to score on those. So I'm looking at strokes gained approach. I think that's the number one stat of the week is just iron play, iron play, iron play. You mentioned the tough greens. I want my guys hitting as many of them as they can. I totally agree with you on the scrambling and strokes gained around the green. I want that to be solid. And then, of course, POA. So I looked at my POA putting splits this week for Torrey. I actually only took into consideration Torrey and this course and Pebble. and I looked over the last 100 rounds on all 3 of those courses. So when you hear me quote those stats, it's only covering those 3 golf courses because I feel like that POA is kind of unique. So it's a great event. I'm looking forward to it. It's just a stacked field. Let's get into it. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, start me off. We're going to give you 3 tournament plays at 9K and above. We're going to give you a cash play at 9K and above, and we're going to give you a fade at 9K and above. Hit me.
All right, well, I am going to start at the very top, and I don't care. I know he's pricey, but at 11.6, absolutely love him. Rory McIlroy has just been playing incredible as of late. I think this is going to be a huge year for him. Hasn't fared. I mean, you look at the last few years he's played here. He was T20 back in 18. He finished 4th last year, T20 in 2016. But I love me some Rory this week at 11.6. I mean, you look across the board at all the stat categories. I mean, scrambling, he's 5th in the field. He's 4th in the field in ball striking. He's 5th in the field if you look at par 4 scoring and that 450-plus yards that I'm looking at. Obviously, great driver of the ball with distance and everything else. I love some Rory at 11.6. I think that there's going to be a tendency to fade him this week, being the highest priced guy and being way up there at 11.6. But I'm okay. I don't care. I'm going to play him. And I love him. And I think you can find some good value when you drop down after you put him in your lineup. So I will play him this week. The next guy that I like, DJ at 10, is just like
that's
WTF.
A really good price.
Yeah.
That is a really good price.
I don't care what he did last week or anything. The guy just loves this course. It is a perfect fit for him. I mean, his worst finish in the last 5 years is a T16 in 2018. He's gained 51 strokes over his last 5 times playing here. I just love DJ. I think this is his course. He's going to play well here. So I don't see why you don't play him at 10,000. Now, I do worry about him being chalky at that price. But who knows? After what he did
No, he's going to be chalky.
Week, yeah, he's probably going to be chalky, but whatever. Yeah. I mentioned Bubba in the course history or in the course preview, but the course history just speaks for itself, and I love how he's playing right now. And I mentioned he wins every 2 years here anyway, so this is an even year, which is Hey, now, and we're going to talk about Pontificate with Pat later on. I like even numbers.
Yeah.
He likes to win in even years. So I'm going with Bubba this week at 9,600. Like I mentioned, great form right now. Checks the box in driving distance. He's top 10 in the field in par 4 scoring from 450 to 500 yards. So I like that as well. My cash play is going to be Tony Finau.
Ooh, really?
Love the guy. I play him in tournaments or
in cash.
But I just feel real safe with him in cash. But you can put him in tournaments, whatever you want to do. But he's definitely checking all the boxes. I mean, he's, you mentioned strokes gained approach being your favorite stat this week. He's 4th in the field in that. He's 8th in the field in strokes gained around the green, 3rd in ball striking, 18th in that par 4 scoring over 450 stat that I like. Obviously has the driving distance, been in great form. His history here was spotty leading up to 2 years ago. But then after that, it's great. 2nd place finish in 2018, T15 last year. So I think you go Finau in cash, but I could play him in GPPs as well. He'll probably be, I don't know. I suck at ownership anyway.
Yeah, you really do. You blew it again last week.
I did.
With RCB
My fade
and Cam
is going to be
Champ.
Tiger. Fade's going to be
really?
Tiger 10-4.
Why?
He's never won here. This is the one course he's never won on. I mean, I swear he's won on every other course on tour. I'm sure there's another one that somebody's going to point out he hasn't won on. But, I mean, I think he's going to be a little overowned this week too. This is his tourney. I'm not feeling Tiger. Not feeling him.
What?
And I love some Tiger. I mean, I'm a huge fan. He's going to check all the boxes and do whatever else. And I'll probably come Wednesday end up throwing him in a lineup. But this is a category, and you could say this too. You got to agree with me. It is hard to poke holes in almost any player in this entire category.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to make a few stands here and there. And for me, it's just going to be Tiger. There's a few others I might could mention, but I think Brooks Koepka's probably like the easy guy that people might poke holes at, and it might be a sucker bet this week, but I kind of like him, so I don't know if I could make him my fan.
I want to talk about a number of things here. I think we camp out on here, talk a little strategy here too, in lineup construction. First of all, since you just brought it up and it's an easy transition, my fade was Brooks Koepka, 9,400. I agree with you. I think this whole range is really tough to nail down a fade. I think he's the obvious fade. Not coming into Riviera with great form. We still don't know.
People are going to look at that price and want to be all over some.
Yeah, and I get it. It does make sense. I mean, I get it. So not coming into great form. We still don't know how much the knee is bothering him. I mean, he's played on it, but I'm just not 100% positive on that. And he's never played here. Or he's only played here, what? Has he played here before? I can't remember. Anyway, he doesn't have a lot of experience here for sure. Maybe one time.
He has played here, well, in the last 5 years, he's played here once, and he missed the cut in 2017. Yeah. So.
I mean, so of everybody 9K and above, he has the least amount of experience here. And obviously the form is not great. So I think he is the easy fade. I want to talk lineup construction because this is a cream of the crop event, like we mentioned. The field is amazing. This is a major kind of level field. I really don't like a lot of the values in the upper 7K range and even mid 7K range. So for me, I think
I don't either, but there's a lot below that.
I think I'm going to load up.
Play Rory.
Yeah, I don't hate the Rory play. I really don't. I am going to have more guys in this 9K and above range in my final pool than I normally would because I like what you get down in the lower 7s and even 6K range. And so I would say this. In terms of the 9K and above range, I just don't feel like ownership is going to matter as much in tournament play because, first of all, there's so many good players up here. It's going to get spread out a little bit. I mean, there's not going to be an overwhelming ownership guy in this range is my guess. Maybe Bubba, I think maybe DJ, just because of that price and his record here. I think those might be your two chalkiest plays here. So, but I don't think you have to worry about it as much up here. Just make it up down below. But I really like having as many players in this range as I can fit in because this group of boys here is obviously pretty solid. So with that being said,
I think that's a good thought too because when you start to look at setting up your lineups and everything, I mean you're literally going to start with Adam Scott on up to Rory, all above 9K, and you're just going to love every one of them.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can you can fit a few of those guys in here, and so don't just. I mean, you can't just think that just because you love all these guys up here that you're gonna. I don't know, have to fade a bunch of them. I don't think you have to do that.
Yeah,
I agree with you there.
I'll just have more exposure to more players here than I normally do. All right, so for my tournament plays, I already said my fade is Brooks. My tournament plays, I'm going with JT at 11. Love the price for JT here. Obviously, we know he comes in incredible form. He checks all the boxes. He is checking every box. Par 5 scoring, the par 4 distance that we talked about. I got a new little tool that I pulled up here, and it basically looks at average adjusted strokes gained at this golf course, and he is top 12 with 20 rounds measured here. Doing pretty good, so I'm liking JT a lot. And then I'm going to jump down, and I'm going to go Xander at 92, who in that same course history adjusted strokes gained model is second in this field, only to DJ. Obviously can play here, could win here. He's a California kid, so I'm liking Xander. And then I'm going to go with Adam Scott at 9K. Like I said, I want to get as many of these guys as I can, so Scott at 9,000, Xander at 92 gives me a little salary relief. I could even play the next guy I'm going to mention here in cash, but I like Adam Scott here. He's got a tremendous record at Riviera over the long, if you look at his whole career. He's actually 6th in this field. This is interesting. As bad as a putter as Adam Scott historically has been, He is, when you look at strokes gained putting on Pebble Beach, Torrey Pines, and Riviera over the last 50 rounds, 100 rounds, 100 rounds, he's 6th in the field on those surfaces. He's 10th in the field in the par 4, 450 or 500, and he's 15th in par 5 scoring at only $9,000. He's got 40 measured rounds at Riviera. He's 4th in the strokes gained or adjusted strokes gained in terms of course history here. So love Adam Scott as well. Those are my tournament plays. I'm going to go with Bubba Watson and cash. I'm not really sure how we could call ourselves, a small level of expert or tout and not talk about Bubba here. Now, obviously, you mentioned he loves the even numbered years to win, but he loves his golf course. The creativity that's required, shaping the shots, the creativity around the greens. He loves it all. He's on record loving it all. I think this is a perfect spot for him. And at only 9,600, you might as well start a cash lineup with Bubba. I also like DJ and cash, which you mentioned. So, all right, there we go. That's the 9K range. Let's get down to the 8K range. And I like some guys here, but not near as much as I do the 9K. All right, so we're going to give you 2 tournament plays, a cash play, and a fade here. I am going to start off with Patrick Reed at $8,600. $8,600 on DraftKings. Not a bomber, but checking the box in a lot of categories you wouldn't think he checks the boxes. He is number 2 in this field in that par 4 range of 450 to 500. He's 40th in the field in par 5 scoring. Obviously, we know he gets up and down. He's 11th in that POA model that I talked about that I made up here. So I think Reed is going to be a little bit of tournament leverage for me in lineups. He finished 6th at the Farmers. That was his last event. So I like Reed. And then I like Justin Rose, man. I like Justin Rose here. He likes this golf course a lot. He's played here a ton. He's got 40 measured rounds here. Checks the box. I mean, the only thing he's not really popping right now is strokes gained approach. He doesn't really have a whole lot of rounds recently to measure that against. But other than that, he's traditionally been a fantastic long iron player, fantastic scorer, driver of the golf ball, can score on the par 5s. So I like Rosie. And then for cash, I'm going to lean Rosie as well. And then my fade is going to be Jason Day. I think, we were both on Jason Day last week, finished 4th at the Pro-Am. He actually does not do well here at Riviera, which is a little surprising. He has 12 measured rounds at Riviera, and he is down near the bottom, in terms of that adjusted strokes gained course history number. He's down near Chris Stroud, Danny Lee, Scott Piercy at this event over his career. Not striking the ball well, which we've seen for a long time. We know he's just making his money chipping and putting. So I think I'll fade the $8,800 price tag that I think on the surface would look good because it's a big name. Even our boy Ben Little talked about it in the Chalk Bomb. I don't know if it was this past week or the week before that Jason Day's form is a little deceiving when you go back and look at what he's done over the last, I think it's 6 or 12 months or something like that. Long-term form is not that great. So I'm out on Jason Day. That's me. What you got in the 8K range?
All right. Well, some agreement here, and I'll start with Day. He was my fade, so I'm totally with you. And for the reasons you said, I don't really like the history here. Just never really has played that well on this course. So I'm with you totally on Jason Day. I will be fading him this week. And I was with you on Patrick Reed. Now I'm not gonna pin him as one of my 2 GPP plays, but he was like the 3rd guy I wrote down. I usually kind of write down sort of a bonus play. He was one of them. So I'm actually with you on Patrick Reed. I'm gonna go though, starting at the top there. I'm gonna go with Mark Leishman. 8,700. I like him this week.
That's your Aussie or Aussie connection there.
There's an Aussie connection. His last tournament he played
with the Kikuyu grass.
Yeah, was a victory with his first at the Farmers. Another very difficult course with POA greens and a great field that we have this week. So I like Leishman. I like how he's been playing lately. I think sometimes we've seen typically that you do get some guys coming off of victory. People might be off of them a little bit. I don't know what ownership's going to be.
Yeah, don't even try it. Don't.
With even trying it.
Yeah.
But I do like some Leishman this week. You look at his course history here; it's kind of spotty. He missed his cut 2 years in a row in 17 and 18, but in 16 he finished T5, and last year he finished T4. So obviously he can play this course well despite the missed cuts. So I do like some Leishman at 8,700. Now dropping down below that at 8,200, I like some Abe Answer at 8,200. I think this is a good course fit for him. You look at the last 2 years that he's played here, nothing great, T68, T44. But we know this guy is just coming on as a great player. He was second at his last tournament at the American Express.
You want to tell the people what we just did and what they can be looking forward to?
Yeah, so we actually just interviewed Abe's caddy, Dale. You're going to have to pronounce his last name.
I was hoping to trap you. I thought you were going to try to do it. Yeah. Dave Vallely.
Dale
Vallely. Mother father. Dale Vallely. Yeah, hilarious
great
guy.
Great interview. Yeah, great guy. Sad you didn't get to meet up with him in Vegas when y'all were both there just because he lives there. But anyway, so I do like some Abe Answer. Obviously playing well lately with the second place finish back at the American Express a few weeks ago. You look at the stats, though, he's checking the box. He's top 20 around the green. He's 24th in ball striking, 35th in strokes gained approach. He's got decent distance. I mean, he's kind of a smaller dude, but I mean, he's top 50 in the field in driving distance, so it's not like he can't get it out there. So I do like some Abe Answer. He will be my other tournament play. Leash and Cash. So there you go. Watching you try and eat like chips and dip is like you're eating chips and dip like you're eating popcorn, like you're throwing dip up in the air or something, and you're catching it with your chip. I mean, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but
you ought to see the Tostitos on the ground right now, all around me. It's a little chaotic for me today with the Vegas and the travel and all that stuff. I'm not my regular self. If you're a listener just tuning in because you're excited that it's Riviera week and you've never heard us before or watched us before, I'm sorry. We're actually a little more polished sometimes than this. It's been a weird week, guys.
It's what happens when DB's in Vegas and I'm
the glue that holds this whole thing together. So when I'm out of town, and just stuff falls off the rails.
Well, especially when I'm having technologically difficulties and things like that.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Let's go.
All right, what you gonna do?
Right?
Yeah, what you gonna do in the 7K range? How? We both mentioned we don't really like a lot of guys up top. I mean, there's one guy up top. We're gonna give you 3 tournament plays, a cash play, and 2 fades in this range. For me, I do think it's tough to avoid Paul Casey. Loves this golf course. Always loves coming here. Always makes it a point to show up here. Good record here. Maybe I guess the price is where it is because of a kind of a poor performance at the AT&T Pebble Beach last week. But he lost 6 strokes putting last week, which I mean even for Paul Casey, that's actually a lot. He's not known as a great putter, but that's a little more than what he normally does. So I just think the ball striking and his experience here and the price at $7,900 is too good to ignore with Casey there at $7,900. But other than that, I'm going Charles Howell III, dropping down to him in the mid-7s. He's at $7,500. He's rested. He's been on a daddy-daughter dance in the last couple weeks, so stroke gain home life is going well for CH3.
And also, this is literally like outside of maybe the Sony Open. Maybe actually this may be ahead of the Sony Open as far as him just banking cash.
He has 62 rounds played at Riviera in his career. 62. Let's see. That is good for 3rd in this field. The only people who have played more rounds at Riviera in this field are Jim Furyk and Pat Perez.
Yeah. And hey, The reason for that so many rounds is because he's making a ton of cuts.
He's making a ton of cuts, and he loves coming here. He loves
Yeah.
coming here. So I think CH3 at 7,500 is a nice bet, coming off the rest too. I think for a guy like him, I think a little bit of rest is good. But then you drop down, and I like a lot of guys from the 7,300 to 7K number, and it's kind of decision time. And so if I got to only pick one more, I guess I will go with Alex Noren at $7,300. Checking a lot of boxes right now. You know, Noren's he's playing solid right now. He's playing solid, and I like him on this track. He's actually scrambling well. He's 12th in this field in the par 5 scoring over the last 50 rounds, 32nd in that 450 to 500 yard range on par 4s over the last 50 rounds. The ball striking's been solid recently. 7,300 just feels like a really good price for Alex Noren, who's competed in big field events like this and majors. He's a winner. I just think it's a great value for him. There's definitely some names lower that I like, but if I got to nail down 3, I'm going to go with those 3. And then in cash, I think Charles Howell or Paul Casey. I guess officially I'll go Charles Howell, but I think him or Casey you could play in cash games and be just fine. In terms of a fade or 2 fades, I'm fading Matthew Fitzpatrick because I normally do. I just think he's so freaking overrated. He's so overrated to me. I don't understand the Matthew Fitzpatrick love. You have a little love for Matthew Fitzpatrick, or you used to. I don't know if that's waning a little bit, but you used to have a little bit of. You would pick him all the time in the early days.
Yeah, it's waning a little bit.
I just don't.
As a matter of fact, it's waning so much that you didn't do one and done this year. But I've decided that this year, since I'm so bad at one and done, I'm going to take the guys that I just don't like every week. And last week it was Matthew Fitzpatrick, so I just took him, and he did make the cut, but he didn't do that well. So
yeah, he finished 60th. He lost almost 4 strokes with his iron play.
I don't like. It's the guys that I just like. I'm tempted to take that I just shouldn't take. So that's going to be my one and done play every week. So
okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't get Fitzy. He's another one like Brooks with very little record. I mean, he has no record here. Does Fitzpatrick? So I think he's an easy fade at 7,700. Maybe a little more of a bold fade, I guess, is Sergio at 7,800. Obviously, Sergio has played here a bunch, and he's actually not playing that bad over on the European Tour in the events he's played in. But we haven't seen him over here yet in 2020 in terms of on the PGA Tour. So Garcia has played here a lot, and I think he's, I just think this is a little bit more of a bold fade. So I'm going to fade Sergio and Fitzpatrick. There you go.
Well, I agree with you on Sergio. He is one of my fades as well. I mean, you look at his last 5 rounds here. I mean, the best finish was 5th back in 2015 with a miscut, a T49, and a T37. I mean, I like what I saw from him last week or a couple weeks ago in Saudi Arabia. I think he had a 6th place finish there. But I just – and the price is okay at $7,800, but I don't like – I'm going to fade some Sergio. I'm surprised. I'm going to start with fades here, I guess. I'm surprised you didn't fade Bryson. And everybody knows you hate him, and so maybe you just have to avoid it because everybody knows you cannot stand him. But for me, it's actually a real fade. Like, I don't like him this week, regardless of what you think about Bryson, and I will play him. I don't care. I have no personal like you do. I don't have this whole thing with Bryson that's just.
Well, see, I'm actually a little. I'm actually
a
little interested in him this week.
I'm not.
He didn't make my cut, but I'm a little interested in him.
I'm not at all. Now, look, he does definitely check the box in distance, but he's 87th in the field.
Well, we all know that. I mean, he's yoked. You know what I mean, bro? He's got abs and all that. He's taking creatine, amino acids, eating edamame like he's doing all kind of stuff right now.
Whatever, but he's 87th in the field in that stat I mentioned on those long par 4s. He's 81st in strokes gained around the green, and he is 94th in strokes gained approach. And that's just going over his last 24 rounds. But look, I mean, I think when you have body changes like this, there's a lot of things you're adjusting to. Like, you might hit it further or what.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, your arms might get in your way on your swing. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of things.
actually, Pat, let me talk to this because I've actually had a body change recently, a lot like Bryson. You really haven't, but my arms have gotten bigger over the last couple
You know
months.
you're sounding like Bryson right now. The guy you hate is what you're sounding like.
My chest has definitely gotten bigger lately. So I can kind of speak to this for Bryson.
This is an embarrassing moment for the Tour Junkies podcast. David has become
I can tell
Bryson.
you that when you start, my quads, my butt has kind of gotten bigger. Like I got like a squatter's butt, it can be challenging. It can be challenging. So I do understand some of that could happen, but he's hitting bombs, man. And at Riv, you can hit bombs. So I don't know. I kind of like it. He's coming off a little rest right now. Definitely didn't like him when he was coming over, from overseas or whatever. But you're right. I mean, he checks 0 boxes. Listen, we talk stats here because we do look at stats. But like, I'm not a big model guy. My model says this or this is my model. But I guess if the stats and the duration that I looked at for all these stats are my model that I make on Fantasy National. He literally checks 0 of the 5 boxes that I have pulled up. In fact, in 3 of the 5, he is in the 100 to 111 range in a 120-man field. So he's not checking boxes for sure.
Just not a fan of Bryson this week. So he's my other fade besides Sergio. So we agree on those, sort of, I guess. I don't know. You were kind of loving some Bryson there.
No, I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued.
As far as the GPP plays, by the way, cash play is Charles Howell. I love him. You can play him in cash, GPPs, whatever. I'm totally with you there. I like Joaquin Niemann at 7,300. I think he's a good play this week.
I like that play.
A guy that his obviously doesn't have a ton of experience, but he has played out here a couple times. You look at let's see. He's played once last year. He was T44, but I think he just has a great game for this course. I mean, you look at the stats. He's definitely checking boxes there. He's 21st in approach, 20th off the tee, 14th in ball striking. He is 16th in the fielding driving distance. I tell you what, that guy for kind of a smallish type figure guy. I mean, he's taller, but he can bomb it out there.
Have you noticed? We follow Joaquin on. Are you still talking about Joaquin?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. We follow him on Instagram. He had a little picture of him and his little girl, cute girl by the way, that he's pulling at the beach last week with his shirt off. My man's skinny. My man's got a 6-pack. You talk about abs, like. Bryson needs to be taking some ab hints from Joaquin because Joaquin's got some abs. He's eating all those avocados. He's getting a lot of protein. He's not bulky, but he's in shape for sure.
Okay, did not notice that, but he can hit it a long way. Anyway, another guy that I like at 7,600, Ryan Moore. I think Ryan Moore is going to have a good week. He's the type guy.
Are you just like all over the guys that we're about to interview their caddies? Because we're about to interview Ryan Moore's caddy, Brett Swedberg, and we just had Dale Vallely. So you're picking an answer. Are you just what are we doing?
I think Ryan Moore is a guy that when you just get him on the right course, he fits. It's like Augusta National. It's a course that he can play well. He's 3rd in the field though in strokes gained approach. He's a great ball striker. You look at.
I think that's debatable.
Why is that debatable? I mean,
I don't think he's a great ball striker.
He's 10th in the field over his last 24 rounds in ball striking. So I'll put it. So he's a great ball striker lately.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. Since if you want to argue, as far as his course history though, he's great. I mean, you look at the last 4 or 5 years he's played there. He has missed one cut, but outside of that, he has not finished outside the top 30 with a T10 or T9 in 2018. Top 10 finish in 2016, So he's been great on this course. I just think Ryan Moore's a guy that I like on old classical courses like this. And, he did finish well. T6 at the American Express just a few weeks ago. Missed the cut at the Waste Management, but I don't think that was a course for him at all. So I'm kind of throwing that out. So I do like some Ryan Moore at 7,600. The other guy I'm going to go with, damn it if he can't just one time come through for me, and that's going to be freaking Jason Kokrak. I'm going back to him.
Yeah, Kokrak.
He performs extremely well in this course, has great course history. He sucked at the Waste Management when I probably picked him. Did have a T21 though at the Farmers, which I think Torrey is at least a little bit more comparable to the course we're getting this week. Definitely a bomber, can hit it a long way. Also checks the box in. Is a good ball striker. He's 40th in the field in par 4 scoring over 450 yards. Top 50 in strokes gained approach. At 7,100, I think Kokrak is finally going to come through for us this week. I don't like where he is on scrambling. I don't like that stat. So if he's got to have a great ball striking week, and he's got to drive the ball well, meaning not necessarily hitting fairways, but just at least getting in the right spots off the tee. Damn it.
Yeah, he popped for me a little bit too. I mean, and he is frustrating. He's definitely a frustrating player. We got a comment in the YouTube about like how we've talked about distance, but then we're picking shorter hitters. And again, like I said in the beginning, I do think distance over the long term shows out here at Riviera. But with the firmer and fast conditions here, if you've got guys who have a good record here, they've got the experience at Riviera, which has also proven to matter, experience. If they're shorter hitters, I think the conditions this week allow a little more play there. So,
well, I also don't think you completely. I mean, I do think distance is an advantage, but you don't just completely avoid the shorter hitters. And I'm also I'm looking back here. This is where these YouTube comments get kind of make me grumpy. Because, like, where are we picking the shorter hitters? Like, the only one
Ryan Moore, Abe Answer.
Ryan Moore's the only one.
Abe Answer, he's a short hitter. Answer's a short hitter.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay.
He's top third in the field in driving distance. That's not necessarily a short hitter.
Okay. Well, there you
go. So who else? Who else?
That's all they mentioned. I'm just saying. Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. He said you're only picking short humans, not short hitters. Evan said that. You're only picking short people. So you're discriminating against taller people. But then you came with the Jason Kokrak comment, and he's tall. So there you go.
Wow.
All right.
I didn't realize when I was doing my research that I was going to have to go with height. Anyway, we got a lot of things to cover. Let's go to the 6K range.
All right, 6K range. All right. I want to talk another little theory thing here. So I think if you're playing in a single entry tournament or a 3 max entry tournament, there are 2 players in the 6K that I feel better about for those contests that I think will still give you a little bit of ownership leverage, and they also give you the salary relief that you need to play the studs up top. But their odds of making the cut, I think, are substantially better. I think their floor is higher, so to speak, than some of the others that I'll list in a minute. Those 2 players are JT Poston and Carlos Ortiz. I love Poston here in firm, fast conditions, and the ball striking here. I think is interesting. He's played here only 2 times, but he's finished 17th and 28th, and he finished 28th here last year when it was wet and not fast, and he's not that long. So I do think Poston is really, really interesting here at 6,900. And then Carlos Ortiz, who is a bomber and checks all the boxes in terms of the par 4 scoring in 450 to 500, the par 5 scoring. Even lately, his irons have been on point. In terms of those putting splits that I mentioned, he is second in this field with those putting splits. He's got a decent form coming in with a 25th at the Waste Management. That was built for him in terms of a bomber's course. So I T9 last year, 26th in 2016 and 20th in 2015. That's his record here over the last 5 years. I think Ortiz and JT are some pretty safe plays for guys priced in the 6K range. So those single entry, 3-max entry contests I like. If I want to get a little more frisky in this range and take guys that have, just as good of upside as maybe those two, but maybe their floor is a miscut, more likely a miscut. Just some names that I'm kind of looking at that I think you can get some tournament leverage in would be Wyndham Clark at 6,600. He's a bomber. He can score. I think Cam Tringali is a steal down here at 6,500. Just as consistent as Cam, has been. He's not putting up a whole lot of great finishes, but he's making cuts, and he's got a pretty good record here in terms of a guy of that caliber. He's got a pretty good record here. And then finally, I kind of like, and I don't really know why, but for some reason Andrew Putnam kind of stands out to me at 6,800. Just as a tournament kind of leverage play. I don't feel great about it, but he's checking some boxes. He checks the putting stats, the scrambling strokes gained around the green, the par 5 he's not bad in. His iron play's been pretty good lately. He doesn't really do well with that par 4 range, but I don't know. I just think he's an interesting tournament play. I think a lot of people are going to be excited to play Lonto Griffin after another good finish last week. We can't seem to get Lonto right. We were on him for 2 weeks prior. He missed the cut both weeks, and we get off of him last week, and he freaking finishes top 10, top 5, whatever it is. I think people want to jump on Lonto. I think Putnam could give you some interesting ownership leverage there. So that's it.
All right. Well, I will start with totally with you on Carlos Ortiz. I like him at 6,800. I also like him as well. If you want to bet him on my bookie at 200 to 1, I think that is great odds to win this tournament. So 200 to 1, I think that's pretty good. The other guy I like down here, and this is a DFS darling, but that's Luke List at 6,600.
Luke,
he's played well his last 2 events. After missing the cut at the American Express and Sony, he was a T36 at the Farmers, T25 at the Waste Management. Definitely has the distance to perform well out here and has done good on this course. I mean, he hasn't finished outside of the top 25, or he had a T26 in 2018. He missed the cut in 17, but a T20 in 16, T15 last year. I think Luke List could surprise in sort of everybody's, I think, steadily off some Luke List, and I'm gonna lead the pack. Lead the pack, getting back on.
You're a pack leader, Pat. Pack leader, Pat. That's what you are.
At 6,600, I like him this week, so I will go with him. And that's really it.
Breaking news.
A couple guys out.
Breaking news. For the first time in our YouTube live history, we have a porn bot that has hit the live chat feature. She's got a very provocative photo. Her name is Emma. Her name is Emma with a lot of weird symbols. Emma chat with me. And so she's somehow a porn bot is in here, and she's chatting it up. I'm trying to keep the boys calm. So,
does she like Luke List?
Emma, if you like Luke List, let us know. Yeah, it's a breakthrough. We know we've made it now that a porn bot has hit our YouTube live.
I feel like that's a
really
great
awesome.
sign for Luke. I feel like that's a good sign for Luke List. That this is happening.
That's a good omen.
Now.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah. So gonna go with Luke List, and there you go. That's my 6K plays.
The inappropriate comments rolling in from the YouTubers to Emma right now is not PG-13 friendly, or yeah. Speaking of some MyBookie bets, your Ortiz pick I like. Wyndham Clark's 250 to 1. Here's one that's huge, and I don't understand it. I mean, I wouldn't play. He didn't pop for me in DFS, and he didn't check any boxes. But Harold Varner III is 400 to 1 on MyBookie, and he's almost won a PGA Tour event before, and he hits it a long way. He can score.
He's almost won a PGA Tour event.
He has, but I mean, 400 to 1.
Funny,
400 to 1 is a lot. Yeah, I just think that's interesting. And another one that I really like that I didn't mention is Noren. He's at 90 to 1 on MyBookie. I like that one a lot. And if you're in our Masters contest on my bookie, we didn't have any winners last week, so now we still only have 3 people who have hit a bet of 20-1 or better and have sent us.
If you had taken my Nick Taylor bet on the DraftKings show,
that's right.
Nobody wants to listen to me. I know how smart David sounds on this freaking show, but y'all need to listen to me sometimes. Just because he spits out all of these smart stats and crap. Some of this game of DraftKings and betting and everything is about feeling.
Yeah, we got to give Pat credit. He on the DraftKings Tour Junkies After Dark show on YouTube, he did push for Nick Taylor last week at 80-1. So if you tail that,
it's documented.
It is documented.
See it on
Good
my
for
Twitter
you.
account.
So yeah, but anyway, we only have 3 people so far who are eligible for our $500 in Masters merch. $500 in Masters merch that we're going to give away to someone if you hit a 20-1 bet or better, and you send us a screenshot on MyBookie. But you have to be referred by Tour Junkies either in the past, or if you haven't done it, you haven't signed up yet, sign up now. Go to mybookie.ag. Use promo code Tour Junkies when you sign up. If you don't do that, it doesn't count. Next thing you got to do is deposit at least $50. If you don't do that, it doesn't count. So you got to sign up with the Tour Junkies promo code. You got to at least put $50 in, and then you're ready to go. All you got to do from there is hit any bet, football, XFL, NBA, I don't care, any bet at 20-1 or better. Send us a screenshot. You can parlay stuff. I don't care. Whatever you got to do, send us a screenshot, and you go into that little pool, and we're going to draw a name before Masters Week and send you $500 in Masters merch. So get on the stick, people. Go to mybookie.ag. Use our promo code Tour Junkies. I'm excited because tonight, our end of the show segment tonight is Pontificate with Pat live. It's like when you go to Sesame Street live with your kids. You know, like we're always used to getting Pontificate with Pat in email written form in the Chalk Bomb emails every Wednesday night, but now we get it live. It's Pontificate with Pat live. So Pat is going to read to us some of the things that he is still wrestling with that he's mentioned before in the Chalk Bomb. We're going to talk through some of those and kind of let him just brain dump for us. It should be entertaining. I'm excited about it. But before that, obviously, we got to recap last week. You did hit the Nick Taylor bet. Our picks did pretty good. It was interesting to see what Spieth did. We talked about it. Should you Spieth or should you not Spieth last week? And, I think I kind of sold you there last week that, a 3-round, guaranteed 3 rounds, a lot less risk for him in a tournament he was comfortable with, and he came out and did it. I mean, he top 10. He had the best round of the field on Sunday with a 67. I think that is very interesting for Jordan Spieth.
That was an incredible round when you think about how tough those conditions were.
Yep.
I don't think people realize, look, just because you have a course that is 6,800 yards or whatever it is, that course was playing extremely difficult, and he throws a 67 out there. I mean, pretty damn good. Now, he did chip in on his 18th hole, which was the 9th hole on Sunday, to kind of secure that top 10 finish.
Yeah,
which was just crazy.
But that's what he does.
But he does that. That's
look at what Phil did last week. Phil was chipping in all over the place. He couldn't hit a. Yeah.
But I think he's coming around. I really do.
What was our perfect DK lineup last week, Pat? How many points would you have scored? How much money would you have left on the table in the perfect DK lineup?
So perfect lineup last week scored 653.5 points at 48,500. So left a little money on the table there, but it was Nick Taylor, Streelman. So Nick Taylor, who if you listen to me on we could take bits and pieces of this. If you listen to me on the DK Live show, Nick Taylor, Streelman, I think I faded, so we'll forget about that. Mickelson I liked. He was in that lineup. Jason Day we both liked. Matt Jones, you may have mentioned him. I can't remember. And then Maverick McNeely, of all people, who putted unreal on Sunday. I think he had one of the best strokes gained putting rounds you'll ever see on Sunday this past week. So that was the perfect lineup. Nick Taylor, Kevin Streelman, Mickelson, Jason Day, Matt Jones, and Maverick McNeely.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Any other comments on the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am?
No, I mean it was a good tournament. I get annoyed by all the complaints about the TV coverage of that tournament.
Yeah,
Because I think I know like the golf lovers, they want to see like the real golf, but I don't mind seeing the celebrities and things. It's 1 week of the year. I don't really care. I don't get all like if you're on Twitter, it's just like everybody just bashes the coverage of the AT&T, and I don't care. I like to see freaking Larry the Cable Guy slam one in and almost kill somebody in the stands, and then it bounces off 10 feet in onto the green. Like, I like to see that.
You like
it's
that?
fun to see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right. How about Clint Eastwood, dude? How about Clint Eastwood in the booth?
Why every year does he do this?
That was really painful.
Like, he's like...
And I feel so bad, but the video going around on Instagram where he's doing that and somebody put like a little dancing unicorn or something in the corner, it looks like he's tripping on acid, makes me laugh so much.
Do you think that Clint Eastwood is trolling us all and is that good of an actor that he does that on purpose every year now?
No. What you're very you're very Colin Cowherd today. You're just contrarian on everything. Everybody hates the coverage. I love the coverage. Everybody thinks, Clint Eastwood's just trying not to shit his pants. I think he's pulling one on all of us. Like, that is not the case. He was obliterated. He is old as...
No, he's pulling one on all of us. He's Clint Eastwood.
Oh, man. It was really painful to watch. Yeah, anyway. Hey, the Nut Hut was lit last week. We really appreciate you guys who have been in the Nut Hut already. We got a bunch of folks in there. Let me tell you, it is an active group. It way exceeded our expectations in week one. We were hoping that... You hope you don't do something like this that costs money and takes some time to build and implement and promote, and then nobody gets in there and does anything. But you guys showed up last week, even for a garbage event. So it was great, and loved seeing that even when we aren't in the room, you guys are talking to each other about strategy and picks and theory and all kind of stuff that's not DFS golf or betting on golf
exactly
related.
What we want to happen too.
Yeah, it was awesome. Freaking love it. If you've not already signed up, please go in and sign up. It's $10 a month. Try it for 1 month. It's only $10. If you like it, you'll just keep going. If not, just cancel it. And $90 for the year if you want to do the whole year. But it's a very active group. It's open 24/7. You can get in there and scroll and read what people were saying. If nobody's in there, you can just get in there. There's always somebody in there. There's already week one. Every time I jump in there, there's somebody in there. So it's been a lot of fun, the Nut Hut has. And we've also gotten a couple of cameo requests, Pat. We need to knock those out this week. We've already got a couple of, because when you become a member, you can request that me and Pat record a video for you, and send it to you or whoever, and literally say whatever. So we'll do that. That's included. Also, some of you have taken advantage of the 20% off merch discount already. We see that. Thank you. You get 20% off all TJ merch as long as you're a member of the Nut Hut. And, this is important, Pat. I just remembered this. If you are a member of the Nut Hut, DM us or email us your DraftKings handle, because we're going to have a unique listener league only for Nut Hut members. And I think we're going to mix it up, Pat. I think we should mix it up. Like 1 week we do it normal. Like another week, let's set it to where, I know our buddy Moose is doing this. We're like, you can only spend $4,300.
$4,300. You mean like $43,000?
$43,000. Yeah. $43,000.
And it'd be tough to do $4,300.
Or you have to spend like 49, and it's going to be a low ball or something. Like, I don't know. We'll mix it up, and we're going to have some rewards for that as well. So DM us or email us your DraftKings handle so we can get those invites out. That's for the Nut Huts. Yeah, so go check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else before we get into Pontificate?
No,
I think Emma's still with us. Emma the porn bot, I think, is still with us. She's holding on until the bitter end. I think she's excited to see what Pontificate with Pat has to say. Okay, yeah, 20. Kyle sent it. He said it's $20 a month for Emma. Yeah, Emma's got her own ideas for the Nut Hut. That's for sure. I think. Yeah. There you go. Pat.
Probably why we got the porn bot, because we named this thing the Nut Hut.
Yeah.
And
tell the people how Pontificate with Pat kind of originated. Currently, it only lives in the Chalk Bomb emails that you can subscribe to on our website, which is a free email. It's really the one piece of non-golf related content in that email that's just meant to make people laugh and let them get a little inside look into your brain. So.
This kind of came about when in the fall, when our boy Ben Little, who writes the Chalk Bomb, decided he was going to take a little break in the fall, which is good. I mean, he needed the break, and so we wanted to add some content to it. And I said, DB, I think that I have a lot of things that just pop in my head that are fucking crazy sometimes. I mean, like sorry for the language. Sorry, Emma. I don't know if Emma.
Trust me, Emma likes it dirty. I can tell you that right now.
But and I was like, I want to just put my random thoughts out there, and they may be funny and they may not be, because I swear some of these are not funny at all, but some of them are.
Yeah.
And I was like, so let's just see what happens. So this is just Pontificate with Pat. It's just random stuff that I think about, and I'm not some of it I'm not even really trying to make you laugh. It's just things I think about, and I wonder if you laugh, I'm glad. If not, maybe it makes you think about something and you have a good answer for me. Because that's another thing. Nobody ever answers some of these questions that I have. I really wanted an answer to it. Is there some real answer? And I'm going to talk about some of these here. But so it only lives, like you said, in the Chalk Bomb. And we decided to add it to this year's email, and pretty excited about it. So
okay. Well, what are you going to hit us with tonight?
Start?
I mean, are you pulling a best of from the last few months of these, or what are you doing?
I'm kind of pulling a best of here. Is what I'm doing.
Okay. I'm excited about this.
You may have some that are your favorites that I don't mention here, but we'll start with this. I'm going to read it how I put it in the Chalk Bomb email, and then we'll talk about it. Are there people actually out there that can, with 100% truth behind it, answer yes when their dentist asks if they've been flossing regularly?
No.
Because I don't believe there are. When you're in that dentist chair and he's standing over you and he's asking if you're flossing, all of you are liars. And you're saying, yeah. You're saying, yeah, I'm flossing regularly. But you're not. I don't believe you are.
I will go ahead and put on the record I am not.
Yeah.
You just floss like a madman the night before. Your gums are swollen and bleeding and scabbed.
But when he asks if you're or he or she asks if you're flossing regularly, do you say yes?
No. Normally the answer is somewhere. No. Normally the answer is probably not every night, but probably twice a week or something. That's usually what I say, which is code for once a year before I come to the dentist.
Yeah. But so you're saying you're still lying in general.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
This is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's another one. And I just found this crazy. Ever since we came up with the freaking Golby logo and squirrel and everything, so if you don't know that our logo is a squirrel, I mean, the population of squirrels is taking a hit in my neighborhood. I hit squirrels all the time. And I'm like, what?
You run over them?
Hell? No, they just run out in front of me. I mean, I'm not squirrels are crazy, by the way, for one.
And when that happens, are you just thinking about Golby the whole time? He's real?
I just freaking killed another Golby. It happens all the time.
You pour one out for him when you get home?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Here's another one. This really triggers the hell out of me. Why do people not put their grocery carts back in the bins that they?
Yeah, I know that. I knew this one was coming. Yeah. I get a video from Pat on the regular, or a photo from Pat in the parking lot of his local Publix, and it'll be a picture of a cart in the middle of the parking lot, not in its proper place, or it'll be a video of him pushing into his spot, going, "This is actually very satisfying. Why don't more people do this?" And he's like pushing it in the spot. I have multiple videos of that. It really gets to you. I know it does.
It's not that hard. And here's the thing. You can make a game out of it by trying to push it from like 50 yards out into the bin, like out in the parking lot. I mean, let me tell you something I did two times in a row this past week. Okay? I went from 50 yards out. There was like a gap of like 3 feet. And I threw the cart and I said, hit the gap, hit the gap, hit the gap. And it went right through the gap twice in a row. I mean, it was fun.
How tell the people how many times a week you go to the grocery store.
5 of 7 days at least.
So stupid to me. Anyway, go ahead. You haven't read one of my favorite ones. I'm interested to see if you're going to read one of my favorite ones. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's another one. Hang on. All right, I'm going to touch on this one real quick. Everybody talked about the Popeyes chicken sandwich and the Chick-fil-A sandwich, and that was one of mine this year. There's no battle whatsoever between those. I mean, it's Chick-fil-A wins hands down. Okay, there's no battle between the Popeyes chicken sandwich and Chick-fil-A. Okay. All right, Chick-fil-A wins easy.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
All right. Here's another one. This one just popped in my head one time. How the F does dry cleaning work?
That's one of my favorites. I love that one. I love that one. That's one of my favorites. Did you read it? Did you read it? Did you read it like you wrote it in the chalk bomb?
Okay, I'll read it. Hang on. Just had a thought pop in my head. How the fuck does dry cleaning actually work? That's how I wrote it in the chalk bomb. I don't understand it. Like, what are you putting it into dry clean shit?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I laugh, but I don't know either. How do you get it clean with no water?
I know, that's what I'm wondering. Like, I don't get it. Okay, here's another one. This really triggers me. I wonder what the ratio of people who group their apps on their phone by category versus leave them all separate is. Okay, so
leave them all what?
Like leave them all, like here. I'm gonna show you.
I know what you're talking about. I was just saying, what did you say? Separative or something? Yeah, I know.
This is how I do my apps. Okay?
Holy shit! How many pages do you have? How many pages of apps do you have?
But I don't group them in. Like if you group apps.
I don't group apps. Yeah.
I don't have time for you.
I don't remember that one. I don't remember that you writing that one.
Yeah, here's another one. We talked about the even numbers. Quick one. I didn't know AOL.com still existed, but it does. Okay, here's one I like. I think midday naps should be mandatory in the office. Okay?
Yeah, agree.
If it's not mandatory, at least not frowned upon. So if you're sitting there at your desk, if Bob in accounting is at his desk taking a nap, you should just think of that as like he's just at it, like you passed by him and he was working on a spreadsheet. People should have naps more often.
What about the ones I think these were kind of recent. The one about trees made me laugh, and the one about dogs. And do you know which one I'm talking about? These are pretty recent, huh?
About the dog barking at me?
Yeah. Read that one. Read it the way you wrote it. Do you know what I'm talking about? That one made me laugh.
Wait.
That one and the one about trees recently made me laugh. See, honestly, on YouTube right now, I don't think anybody knows how dry cleaning works. Literally nobody. Do we have any listeners that operate dry cleaners or have a contact? We would love to know.
I don't. Maybe it's not on the list. What was the trees one?
Or it was about plants or something, like growing trees. You know what I mean?
Oh, like plants, or maybe they're harvesting us, like until harvesting us until we die, and then they're going to consume us so that they can live. Like,
so you flipping it, not we're harvesting plants, but they're harvesting us.
yeah,
You wondered that.
So other way around. Like, I mean, think about that. It's just.
I know. What? All right, a couple more. What about you? Can't find the dog one?
Well, I know. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the thing with the dogs is they like I can tell the dog to sit, to lay down, to do whatever, and he knows what I'm saying. But I don't know what the hell he's saying when he's barking. So maybe that dog is smarter than I am.
I think it might be. Sam wants to know how many squirrels you think you've actually slaughtered. If you had to put a number on
last year. 10 in the last year. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Golby's fucking running out in front of me all left and right. All right, here's another one that I think is I like this one. I think trolls should get a red check mark. Like if you're a troll, you should get a red check mark. But you got to be a good troll on Twitter. So this is on Twitter. You got to be a good troll. You get a red check mark instead of a blue, and you're a fantastic troll. But we can't just be handing out red check marks left and right. You
got to earn it. You got to earn it.
Yeah. Last one. This one's just I love, and this is just so true and weird of me, but. If I like at work or at home, I'm like about to put something in the microwave, and it has like a 7-second left or an 8-second left on there, like nobody cleared it out. That really pisses me off. Like I feel like you wasted some time for some reason. Like you can't just clear it out to 0 because nobody. I mean, you just wasted some time right there.
One of my favorite ones was about the mail.
Oh, you want the mail one? Okay.
Yeah. Because it's just very on. It's just very on. Yes, it's just very on brand for old Pat.
Hang on, let me find it.
I think it was an early one. Boy, this is really entertaining stuff.
Where was it? Oh, here we go. I still have an internal brief excitement to check my mailbox when I get home for the day. But I don't have any fucking clue why. 90% of the time, it's junk mail and bills. I mean, it's not like I'm getting some sort of pen pal letter, card with money in it from my grandparents, or the latest CD from Columbia House.
That's the line. That's what got me. The latest CD from Columbia.
Checking my mail. That's actually right. I wrote that was dead on. Yeah.
You love checking the mail. So if you guys want to make Pat happy, send him some mail.
And tell me how fucking dry cleaning works. I've said the F word too many times in this segment, but that's
you know what? I've noticed that. Like, I can't even put I have to keep putting explicit on the show, but only because of the last 10 minutes. Like, it's because of you. Like, you hold it for the whole time, and then you can't go 10 more minutes and not say it.
Sorry.
All right. Well,
cheers.
There you go. Let's go refill. It's very late. Let's go refill and go do our DraftKings Tour Junkies After Dark show that you can watch on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Meet us in the Nut Hut, folks. We're going to be there all week. It's going to be a lot of fun. May your screens be green. See ya!
Oh!
Tour Junkies.